Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Smackdown review of us, the British Fist.
Ka-ching!
Stop, fuck that, cover that hat up, boy. God damn, we're indoors, we shouldn't even really be wearing hats. But anyway, I am Mr. Parkin, of course. This guy sitting next to me is MJ, who you can now see his eyes.
What's up?
Make sure you guys subscribe above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this edition of Smackdown down in the comment section below.
And make sure you contact us in the link in the description box below.
Of course, the first Smackdown after TLC, and we open up with Big Show. Now, are you surprised we didn't open with Daniel Bryan this week?
Daniel Bryan could have been the one to come out to say how important it was to actually become the World Champion, but Big Show coming out, I guess it all adds up because obviously the main event coming out.
Yeah, he basically comes out talking about the new WWE Champion Daniel Bryan, talking about how hard it was to get to that WWE Championship event where he scratched and clawed, and now he's still happy even though Daniel Bryan cashed in Money in the Bank on him at TLC.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing because on Raw we had the hints of him turning heel, and he just comes out seeming, yes, he's disappointed and all that, but he's happy for Daniel Bryan.
And then we get Mark Henry coming out, and I'm thinking, huh? Didn't they take the belt of him because they felt he couldn't appear on SmackDown anymore? But anyway, he comes out and talks, he's just going on about how Big Show should really feel. Embarrassed, humiliated, embarrassed, and he wants his rematch. And then they both end up doing this rematch thing, and then we get Daniel Bryan coming out finally. Yeah,
with Daniel Bryan coming out, he was obviously going to come out, because obviously they both talk about him, both talk about who deserves what match, and Daniel Bryan basically gets in their faces saying that you don't deserve it, you don't deserve it, and all this stuff.
Well, I think basically he comes out and says, you know, that he's not the biggest, he's not the smartest, he's not the world's largest athlete, or he's not the world's tallest athlete either. But yeah, I mean, you know, you had good interactions between Big Show and Mark Henry, as we can expect. They just had a good feud, which prematurely came to an end, I believe. And then you had Daniel Bryan coming out. I do feel Daniel Bryan should have opened the show, and I think WWE may have been a bit worried by the first thing people seeing being Daniel Bryan, especially after that rating they got on the Raw main event. Personally, that's just my own personal opinion. Bash it if you will, Daniel Bryan fans, but there we go. So basically, Show and Henry want rematches, and Teddy Long makes his obligatory appearance, although we haven't seen it in a while, and makes a number one contendership match between the two tonight.
When I heard that, I thought, yes, it's logical, because obviously what happened at TLC, and now it's making me think, okay, that should be a good match. Yeah, and it should be a good build-up to the pay-per-view. And I was thinking, hang on a minute, they took the title off Henry because he couldn't wrestle anymore. But we'll get more to that later. An okay opening segment. We've been used to very unique SmackDown beginnings with like Cody Rhodes and stuff, so I don't know, this was good. This was okay, just not as good as previous weeks, which have been a little bit different and more innovative in my opinion. But it did good for the rest of the show.
Yeah. After this, we got Rhodes versus Ryder in a champion versus champion match. And you know what, NG? You know what I noticed when I watched this match? I look at Cody Rhodes, and I see a guy who's using this title to get to the main event status, using it as a stepping stone. In Zack Ryder, I see a guy who's reached the peak of his career. A guy who can hold the US Championship and not go any further. Do you feel my empathy there?
I do, and with this match, I think Cody Rhodes was doing a whole dominant side to it, but I do believe that Ryder did put good effort into this match and looked kind of decent in this match against Rhodes.
Cody the Red-Nosed Reindeer! And Booker T starts singing a Christmas song on the mic, and it distracts Rhodes to allow Ryder to get the win. You know what, I'll say this. It carries on the storyline between the two. Ryder got the victory, but Ryder was an afterthought, because you had the whole thing between Rhodes and Booker T at the end, so I can't be... Although I don't like Ryder winning, at least he wasn't the main focal point of the show, of the segment, which was the Cody Rhodes Booker T feud, which is what it rightly should have been.
I do believe that they did it correctly. They had the Champion match, which we always have normal time throughout the year. So it's a good match we had, and I think the result of it was correct, because obviously they could continue to Booker and Rhodes the best way they can, and they did it perfectly by having Booker T screwed right.
Exactly, that's what I was just about to say. And then we had a backstage interview with Dolph Ziggler talking about how he has everything a world champion has. He has the looks, the charisma, the hair, the wrestling skill, and Teddy Long books him in a match with Daniel Bryan later, so we have a main event.
Nicely set it there.
Should be a good match. And then we have the said number one contendership match between Big Show and Mark Henry. Or did we? Because David Otunga comes out and starts talking about Mark Henry not being medically cleared to compete, and then Big Show just gives him the knockout punch, and the match never takes place. What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are basically...
Pretty quickly.
I did.
I thought I knocked you out! I don't have the weapon of mass destruction. This is the weapon of very, very little destruction.
Maybe so. But the thing with David Otunga, I guess I weren't saying that Mark Henry was too fit to wrestle anyway because he has got an injury.
Injured, yeah.
So I'm kind of that has to find a way to get him out of it. And there was the whole maybe give him an injury angle, but I guess they want to keep him involved in SmackDown somehow.
I just wonder why they even did this segment, especially if Mark Henry's injured and they knew the match wasn't going to take place. I suppose they're trying to emphasise the fact that Mark Henry is actually injured, maybe, but just that this segment just felt empty. It's like I wanted a #1 contender and I got nothing out of it. So now I assume Big Show is going to be the #1 contender because Mark Henry can't compete.
That looks like it's where it's going to
go. There we go. And I have a feeling that either Daniel Bryan or Big Show will be turning heel soon. Just one of them. One of them has to turn heel going into like WrestleMania.
It'll be interesting to see how they do one of the heel turns to one of them.
Yes, we also get after a backstage segment with Teddy Long, we get a Miz coming out for a promo. He wants someone to challenge him, and he's talking about how SmackDown has no face, how he's been above SmackDown main events 5 times, and he cuts the promo, and then out comes Sheamus, and I'm thinking, oh my god, more filler for Sheamus, and it has to come at the expense of Miz this time.
Okay, I know this match is giving Sheamus a tough challenge because the Miz is such a great wrestler. But the thing I'm looking at is that obviously you got to decide who do you want to win more out of these two. So I'm kind of thinking this is a bad match for both of them.
Or don't even have this match. I've got so many issues with this segment. First of all, it's a potential pay-per-view match, which I might want to see in the future. I'm just going to say, I didn't want to see a clean victory, especially not in 3 minutes. Why was this match even happening? Why make Miz look like such a chump when he's most likely to be challenging the WWE Champion CM Punk? Just Sheamus beats Miz in 3 minutes. That's the same amount of time it took him to beat Jinder Mahal. You're trying to tell me that it takes Sheamus the same amount of time to beat Jinder Mahal than it does Miz. And I'm like, God's sake, this match should, 1, have never have happened, and 2, it should at least, if it did happen, been a bit longer and ended in a DQ. I'm just saying, 3-minute win for Sheamus, it just proves as if filler, and it's coming at Miz's expense, and they should be booking it in a program, so this shouldn't happen.
I agree with that, because this match, again, when you hear Miz vs Sheamus, you think, wow, this should be a great match. But when it comes to the match, as we've just watched, it didn't live up to what we expected, and it shouldn't have happened.
3 minutes says it all, really. Come on. So not a very good segment, in my opinion. Just the way it was booked and the way that WWE got them two facing off, really ridiculous. Next, we had Wade Barrett talking about how he skinned the Viper and show footage #1, show footage #2, and show footage #3. That's my personal favourite. That is. He shows this footage of all his wins over Orton, is saying that after all this he's done, he's in line for a World Heavyweight Championship shot.
Well, the way it was all built up, he showed us 3 great video packages of how he got one over on Orton, and it does add up. You've been great, you've defeated Orton, you've done this, so I'm likely thinking, yes, maybe you should be towards the #1 contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship.
And do you know what I saw in this segment? I saw a guy in Wade Barrett who could take command of a segment. He did it with Nexus, he's now doing it again. And that's just one thing I thought to myself when I saw the segment. Wade Barrett talking, he's really taking the segment, he's really commanding the segment and commanding the crowd in this segment. After he just says, well, that is all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, as we say in England, have a Merry Christmas. Orton comes out and they start brawling. And this was good. You had Barrett, then you had Barrett running away after the attempted RKO, and then they start brawling in the back. And as much as I don't like the fact that Orton was on top, it was some good, entertaining stuff.
Well, I'm like his whole backstage thing. Because they've done it in the past, but then he dropped it. So they're bringing it back now in this match. It was interesting. It was really good. I liked it because obviously it was bringing more towards their fighting skills. But the only thing I do not like is that, Barrett got his little spots in, but they were just Orton dominating as soon as they went backstage and just got a bit...
No, I wasn't really for that, but I guess I don't really know. Basically, get an RKO on the car. Orton sprays water at Barrett. I don't like the fact that Barrett is looking weak here, but let's face it, he's against Orton. I've just learned to accept it now. I wish Barrett would have looked strong, but it was still a good, entertaining segment in my opinion. Even though Barrett got beat down, I'd rather it have been the other way around. But you've got to have Orton come out top sometimes.
True, but it was entertaining. But most segments when Orton does an RKO somewhere other than in the ring, it's normally going to bury him. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they'll continue their feud and Barrett will come out on top again.
Same here. I think the exact same thing going into Royal Rumble. We then have Primo versus Kofi Kingston. I'm thinking to myself, wow, a tag team feud is going to start getting built up here. The match itself, though, went about 3 minutes. It was probably a little bit too short. I do feel that, especially after Edwin won at the pay-per-view, I do feel you really needed to give a win to Primo here, especially to establish the heels in this feud. To have the face win the first match back is just not really it's not allowing the heels to get enough heat on themselves to allow the babyface to get over. And I just hope this builds to a tag team feud over the new year. So I'm happy with this segment and the fact that it's building a tag team feud. I just wish Primo would have got the win, personally.
True. The way I look at it is, of course, I'm more of a heel fan, but having Primo win, and then obviously, because we've got many more weeks, Kofi could have won any time, so I'm guessing giving Kofi the win early, then maybe build Primo after, I was fine.
Yeah, as long as it's building some sort of tag team feud, I'm happy with this.
Same here.
I wish it would have gone on a bit longer, but, Smackdown for you. In our main event of the evening, we had Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler, and we had, 17 minutes left in the show? I was thinking to myself, wow, a nice long wrestling match to end the show. Boy, I'm going to enjoy this. And we got Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler. The match itself went about 9.5 minutes and was really leading up to this massive crescendo. I thought I was really enjoying the match, and just as it was about to really get some steam, you get the whole Swagger and Big Show brawling because they came out, and it was kind of like, it really ruined the match for me. I really was expecting... Imagine if you gave Daniel Bryan a nice 15-minute match against Dolph Ziggler and got him a nice clean victory, and that would have done wonders for Daniel Bryan.
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed in SmackDown for having 2 main events.
Yeah.
They could have just kept it as one. Dolph Ziggler versus Daniel Bryan was booked early in the night. It was a match made, so they should have kept to it and made that match really good for either wrestlers.
I think it could have been better for for Daniel Bryan getting a nice clean victory over Dolph Ziggler. I also feel it could have been a better main event, especially from a personal standpoint when we do like wrestling. But I do feel that the reason why they did this tag team match, Bryan Show versus Swagger and Ziggler, is because I think WWE are worried about the ratings. And they're worried about having Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, 2 guys that aren't really sort of mainstream, like with the mainstream fans enough in that main event slot. Just my personal opinion on that.
As much as I agree with you, if they did believe that, I think they should just go with a tag match, like Dealong's good at making. They should make that match the main event instead of this 2 main event slots.
Yeah, I mean, the match between Daniel Bryan, Big Show, Swagger and Ziggler went about 7 minutes. It was a decent tag match. Bryan gets a submission victory, the right guy to win, and he gets the victory after doing the blind tag on Big Show. I just wish the first match would have gone on for this long, and that's just my personal opinion. I would have really liked to have seen that match just be a really good TV main event. Although, I wasn't too dissatisfied with how it went personally.
Well, as much as I was happy with the first match they had, again, I'm going to repeat it again just because I'm disappointed how it finished. I would have had the tag match as the full main event, and then had Bryan do most of the work in the match maybe to build his character up. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it could have either way really. You know what though? What did you think of SmackDown overall this week? I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was a great SmackDown, but it was a decent to good show in my opinion.
My thoughts are, again, they had plenty of matches throughout the night, not much backstage filler, but the thing I was disappointed was the matches. Sometimes, as you've seen in our review now, I was kind of against the result of the matches or the matches we had. So overall, I think it's okay SmackDown, but could have been better.
We got, 3 storylines built throughout the night going into Royal Rumble. We got a tag team feud. We've got the whole Cody Rhodes Booker T thing, which I do want to see it possibly Royal Rumble, and we've got the main event match.
And
Orton Barrett, yeah, of course, so that's 4 storylines. So 4 storylines on SmackDown, which is good considering at the beginning of the year they could barely feature 1 or 2. So I was pretty happy with the way we got a lot of matches tonight. The main event could have been done a little bit better, but I was still kind of satisfied with it. There was some good matches, and the Rhodes Ryder thing, and the backstage beatdown and everything. So there was some good entertaining parts of Raw. Even though I did disagree with other parts, you've got to kind of expect that now, and that's what I've come to do. So I'm going to give this show a B minus. I'm not going to be too critical of this SmackDown. It was a decent SmackDown in my opinion.
I'm going to give it a B minus, almost C plus, just because I was okay with how it opened, but then as the show went on, things started to be a bit...
If Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler would have gone on the whole time, or just had the tag match, one match in that main event slot, I would have given it a much higher grade.
It would have been a lot better.
I'm going to say that now. And if they didn't do that stupid Miz Sheamus segment. No Divas tonight either, so tea time guys, you pick the right guy to go. You pick the right time to go on holiday. I'll just say that right now. Have fun in Barbados, wherever the fuck you guys are. At least we show up to our freaking reviews. Anyway, that's been it. Really, that's our opinions on SmackDown this week from me, Mr. Parkin. This got to sit next to me, MJ.
What's up?
Indeed, with your thing bobbling all around the place. I don't fucking have a bobble. And also, make sure you get your thoughts on SmackDown down in that comment section below. We do want your feedback, and we will respond to your feedback when we can. And NJ, there's a nice Christmas tree behind us, but you're the shining star of this show. So you end the show.
Well, people, as this is the last one before Christmas, I hope you have a happy Merry Christmas, full of joy and happiness. spend it as much as you want, enjoy it, and that's been it for the British Fizz. Talk about Smackdown. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And all I can say now is, from Mr. Parkin and me and Jay, goodbye.